So the first strategy I'm going to share with you today is the foundation of our success. It's the foundation of every sales professional's success. And it's called your psychology. It's really what's going on inside of your head every single day. It separates the top players from the ones who are struggling. It's really about your belief systems, what you believe is happening. See, I can walk into a group of successful salespeople, and I can walk up to that group and say, hey, sir, miss, what do you believe is going to happen today? And they're going to say something like this. Man, I'm going to find a way to differentiate myself. I'm going to ask the right questions, uncover needs. I'm going to follow the processes. I'm going to take care of my customer service issues. I'm going to make it happen. They just have that belief. And for those of you that are taking notes, a belief is really nothing more than a feeling of certainty. That's all a belief really is. It's a feeling of certainty. And what we know is those people who are most certain about what they're doing for a living are the ones that separate themselves from some of those people who continue to struggle. Now, not too long ago, I was watching a show on HBO, and they were profiling a gentleman by the name of Roger Bannister. Now, if you don't know who Roger Bannister is, he was the first person in human history to ever break the 4-minute mile in running. He ran the first sub 4-minute mile. Now, what's interesting about it was he broke the record back in 1954, and he was an English medical student. He studied to be a doctor. And back in the 50s, the doctors had a prevailing belief that the 4-minute mile would never, ever be broken. As a matter of fact, it was documented in Journal of American Medicine that if a human being exerted their body to the level of intensity that it would take to break the 4-minute mile, that their heart would actually explode inside their body cavity. True story. So you can imagine Roger Bannister hanging out with all of his med school colleagues, and he's saying, hey man, I can do this. I mean, I'm working hard, I'm eating well, I'm training hard, I can do this. How do you think they might have responded to him? What do you think they would have said? What are you, nuts? Come on, aren't you reading the journals, Roger? Your heart's going to explode. I mean, that's not a very compelling future for the guy. He goes out in 1954, and he breaks the 4-minute mile. Here's what happened. In 1955, 37 other people from around the globe broke the 4-minute mile. In 1956, just 2 short years later, 200 people from around the globe broke the 4-minute mile. And now, of course, we have high school and college students that do it on occasion. So my question is this afternoon as we kick off, what really changed? What changed back in 1954? Yeah, the belief or the mindset or the perception. The belief or the perception. We have a name for that if you're taking notes. It's called social proof. Social proof. Social proof is simply this. Hey, Roger Bannister did it, I can do it. You know what, they did that in that market, I can do it. You know what, he did that with that limited experience, I can do it. She made that much money in that marketplace, I can do it. If you take nothing else from this meeting, take this one idea with you, and that's this, that you'll never out-earn or outsell your belief systems. I'm going to repeat that. You'll never out-earn or outsell your belief systems. Now, here's the good news, ladies and gentlemen. Who controls what you and I believe? Who controls what you and I believe? We do. But oftentimes we get influenced by the marketplace, the media. Or somebody negative is in our office. I've had situations. I had a group not too long ago, actually, towards the end of last year. It's a group of about 200. The number one salesperson in that room, the top performer, had only been with the company for 6 months. He was the number one performer in the company until, and listen to me very carefully, until he started hanging around with some of the veterans. Because before he joined the organization, he didn't know about the slow season or the bad leads or the competitiveness. All he knew was, man, I got a great product, a great service, I've got the processes, I can make it happen. And so as we talk about mastering the art of selling, the first thing we really have to do is master our mindset. Here's what I know. I could come in here today and just teach you closing skills. Alignment skills, closing skills, NLP language patterns. I can teach you the best closing skills ever. But the fact is, if you don't believe that you're the type of sales professional that can merit those type of skills, or if you don't believe you can earn that kind of money, will you use them, yes or no? No, you won't. See, your beliefs drive your behavior. You can't just, as a human being, you can't get yourself to do something you don't believe is possible. So the first thing we have to do is really work on our mindset. Now, you'll never out-earn or outsell your belief systems. Now, I got to tell you, one of the best experiences that I had that really shaped my belief system is, most of you don't know, obviously, but I got my start in sales. I was selling insurance for a company here in Atlanta. And then I went to work for a guy named Tony Robbins, who's a big motivational guy. And how it worked was I would sell tickets for him when he had a big seminar. So if he had a seminar in Atlanta, he'd bring in a group of people like myself, and we'd be in the marketplace for about 8 to 10 weeks, and we'd be giving free presentations to stockbrokers, insurance agents, auto dealers, anybody on commission sales that we would get to the sales conference. And so I'll never forget, one of my first big talks, we were in Baltimore area, so I did a talk in Washington, D.C. It was for the Merrill Lynch office, K Street office, big office. I was a little bit nervous about that. I mean, you've seen Boiler Room, right? It's pretty much how it looked. Everybody's in white shirts and they're banging phones. That was back in the days of transaction selling. And so I went in there and did my thing, and I sold a bunch of tickets. I was really excited about it. I found out the guy that was in there, now this was 1995-ish. There was a guy in there, one of their young guys that they had said, this is going to be our top performer. He was making $250,000 at that time. He was just killing it. And I'm thinking, man, what is this guy doing? I mean, I didn't see if he was any smarter than I was, but he's sure doing something. And so I never forget, his name was Will Finnerty. I walked up to Will. He had bought a ticket from me. And I said, hey, Will, I'm here for about 6-8 weeks. I'd love to see if we could connect for a dinner, lunch, coffee. And he was a real positive guy. He goes, well, how about tomorrow morning? I was like, let's do it. I was so excited. So I'll never forget. I was walking there the next day. I was going to meet this guy, talk about how to make $250,000, take myself to the next level. Had my notepad out, ready to take some notes. And we got together, and we're talking about 3 or 4 minutes. Had my notepad out, and he goes, hey, Dan, can I share something with you? I'm like, yeah, what is it? He goes, I'm not sure where you want to go with your life or what you want to do, but I can tell you this one thing right now. I'm like, yeah, what? He goes, you're never going to earn $250,000. I don't care how hard you work, you're never going to earn that kind of money. And you can imagine me sitting there going, what? He goes, no. He goes, I like you. He goes, but based on our 2 or 3 minute conversation, I can tell right now, he says, you'll never earn $250,000 with that $100,000 belief system you currently have inside of your head. How many people follow what I just said? He says, yes, you'll never earn $250,000 with a $100,000 belief system, just like you'll never earn $500,000 with a $300,000 belief system, or you'll never earn $700,000 with a $500,000 belief system. You'll never out-earn or outsell what you truly, truly believe that you can sell. Because, see, your belief drives your behavior. So what I find is really interesting in the sales game is that I talk to salespeople all the time. I do a lot of consulting in sales. Now, in the corporate America, you guys know this happens. We all have typical quotas we have to hit. And if we don't hit quotas, 2 things typically happen. Well, there's various things that could happen. Typically, the person decides to leave on their own. Other times they get fired, or other times they get moved to another seat on the bus. But see, here's what happens. When someone's struggling and someone's not hitting their numbers, I've had conversations with these people. And I'll say, hey, tell me, Bob, tell me what's going on. You're not hitting your numbers. And he'll start telling me about an array of things. Well, our company just doesn't do enough marketing. And, well, we don't have, we're not the cheapest product. I'm like, what do you mean? You actually have to sell, Bob? I haven't had a great training program. He's got all these stories and excuses. Are you with me? Yes or no? Yeah, they can tell you why they're not succeeding. But what happens in corporate world, something's going to happen. He's going to get fired or he's going to leave. The problem with this gentleman, because he always thinks the grass is greener on the other side. So he leaves and goes to another company or a competitor. And the problem with that is he has to take himself with him. So he goes to the new company with the same mindset and the same belief system, and what kind of results does he get? The same. But then the company brings in somebody fresh, somebody new, somebody who doesn't know any better. They start making the calls. They start doing that thing called prospecting. They start following up and calling on the big accounts that are just too big, and they start getting some traction, and pretty soon, man, it's a great territory. Are you with me? Yes. See, your beliefs drive your behavior. If there's a salesperson that believes that they're in a bad territory, they won't do the things necessary to be a top performer. Because if it's a bad territory, why would you? But see, that it'll never be a top performer unless it's treated like a great territory. And that's the distinction. It's your mindset, it's your psychology about what's possible for you. Your beliefs drive your behavior. Now, here you guys are, all successful people. You've got beliefs about your company. You've got beliefs about what's possible. You have beliefs about how much money you can earn. And then we have other beliefs. You know, we've just had an election. We've got all types of split beliefs there. You have beliefs about your family. Here's my question for you this afternoon. Are your beliefs true, yes or no? I hear a yes. I hear I'm not sure. I hear some. Well, let me give you a quick scenario. You guys are a fun group. Imagine, just for fun, that we've got two men up here, and these two men call up their wives, and they say, hey, honey, let's meet out for dinner tonight. Let's meet at our favorite restaurant, you know, the one we got engaged at. So 7 o'clock, we'll talk about the day, have some dinner. It's going to be great. So 7 o'clock, you got two men, two separate restaurants, and of course, two separate wives, just for clarity. And 7 o'clock rolls around, and boom, the men are right on time, because you know how punctual men are. Well, the women aren't there. You know, no big deal. There's some traffic here. 7:15, 7:30, 7:45, 8 o'clock, no sign of their wives. Now, we'll call this guy Gentleman A. This guy is furious. I mean, veins are popping out of his neck. He's banging on the table. Where is she? And then you've got this other gentleman. We'll call him Gentleman B. He's really concerned. He's like, well, where is she? Here's my question. Ladies and gentlemen, which one of these two gentlemen, what's the difference in these two gentlemen? Trust me, I've heard it all. That sounds like my I heard it all. But what it really gets down to, I heard it right here, it really gets down to what they believe. See, this guy over here believes that his wife is doing something she shouldn't be doing, or that she's always late, and he allows that to get him riled up. Does that make sense, yes or no? What's this guy over here believe? Something happened. That's my baby. That's my angel. Something must have happened. Pretty simple. The real question is, which one of these two men are right? If you're thinking both, you're on track. Because if you walked into that restaurant, that hypothetical situation, and you walked up to those two gentlemen and said, hey, which one of you guys are right, how would they respond? I am. So the reason I tell you that story is whatever you believe about what's possible for you this year, whatever you believe about what's possible to drive business in your territory, to grab more market share, to out-earn and outdo what you did last year is absolutely true, and true for you only. And it starts right here. Does that make sense? Yes or no? So, I'm going to talk about two quick beliefs real quick.